Do you suffer from painful, heavy periods, PMS, mood swings, or migraines? Are you tired of being told they are just normal parts of life? Or are you afraid your child's going to suffer these symptoms too? At Vividis, the full of life company, we take the pain, misery, and confusion out of those menstrual cycles and replace them with tools of empowerment and time management so you can be Vividis. Visit embracingflowpodcast.com for more information on transforming your cycles from ow to wow. Information shared on the Embracing Flow podcast is for educational purposes only. It does not constitute medical advice.
Ever felt frustrated being told PMS, heavy bleeding, and cramping are just normal parts of life? You're not alone. I loathed my monthly cycle for decades. That all changed when I earned 3 health coaching certifications discovering something incredible. Your period is vital. It is an outward sign of your inner health, and it holds the key to unlocking your full potential. I've been there battling heavy, painful periods, and I turn them into cycles with minimal PMS and cramping. Today, I'm on a mission to share that information with you. Pour a cup of your favorite drink, get comfy, and grab your headphones as we embark on a candid and empowering journey of self-discovery. Together, we'll demystify menstrual cycles, explore cyclical living, delve into natural birth control, and guide parents through those crucial period talks with tweens and teens. It's time to break the taboo around menstruation and embrace the wisdom it holds. I'm your host, Heather Allmendinger, and this is the Embracing Flow podcast.
Hello, and thank you for joining me on today's episode. Today, we're going to be talking about the fertility window. Fertility is an important aspect of human life, and understanding the fertility window can help people plan their families better. Let's just start with some basics. What is that fertility window? The fertility window refers to the period of time during an individual's ovulatory cycle where ovulation is most likely to occur and the biggest time to possibly conceive. This period is generally considered the 5 days leading up to ovulation and the 1 day of ovulation itself. And during this time, the individual's body releases an egg from the ovary, which can then be fertilized by sperm to result in a possible pregnancy. So, what are some of the signs that an individual is in the fertile window? Some of the signs that individuals that are ovulating notice, one of the biggest signs is the cervical mucus. That is the moisture, there's more moisture down in the vaginal area. As an individual approaches ovulation, the cervical mucus becomes thinner, clearer, and more slippery, which makes it easier for the sperm to reach the egg. In the fertile window, it starts, you can see when the fertile window starts because it starts as a kind of a tacky, sticky, white, I don't even want to say fluid, but it's kind of like paste glue that has sat for a little bit. And as you get further into the fertility window, it becomes more liquefied and and then it becomes clearer, and it actually turns into the high fertility time period is when you see what it looks like egg whites. When you crack open an egg, there's the actual yellow part, which is the yolk, but then there's a clear gelatin kind of substance that's around that bright yellow part that's called egg white. That is what high fertility cervical mucus will look like. It's stretchy, it's transparent, translucent, might have a little bit of an opaqueness, white opaqueness to it, but it looks like that egg white cervical mucus is what you can see on some of the boards, or EWCM is the acronym that a lot of the boards use for egg white cervical mucus. Once ovulation occurs, then the cervical mucus will then go back to more of a white lotiony and then go back to more of a white pasty as you get into the later part of the luteal phase and the cycle starts again. Is the basal body temperature. Once ovulation occurs, the basal body temperature increases by a half degree to a full degree. And then some individuals may experience mild abdominal pain or discomfort, known as Mittelschmerz, around the time of ovulation. Mittelschmerz is German for mid-month. Another way that individuals can see if they are in their fertile window is using ovulation predictor kits, or OPKs. Ovulator predictor kits use the luteinizing hormone, which is the hormone that kind of I guess you want to say, almost pushes and causes ovulation to possibly occur. The ovulation predictor kits, you urinate either in a cup, it is urine, or you can sometimes urinate on this on a stick and detects how much luteinizing hormone is in your urine. The higher the amount of hormone that is detected, the closer you are to your highest point or peak. And peak can be different each month. And peak can be determined differently per testing. There are many different ovulation OPKs on the market. So be aware that even though your highest point may not always hit what it that test determines as peak, but it is your highest point in your cycle. You can get pregnant if you're using a certain test and this certain test has a peak and it says peak, or it has a smiley face or flashing smiley face as that's detecting your peak. Your LH may not hit that particular spot to get that indication. However, you can still get pregnant. It's more determined on your body and what your body determines as its LH peak, or LH, the highest point of your LH that cycle. So just be aware that even though your tester may not say peak, you can still get pregnant. But what ovulation predictor kits do is they do test the luteinizing hormone and lets you know where you are with your highest point. Once you hit your highest point, an egg is to be released within 12 to 48 hours of that high point. Once you start getting into the higher points, there are some individuals that test twice a day, once in the late morning and once in the early evening. It is recommended that if you do test in the morning, use urine that's the second or third urine of the day versus the first urine of the day, which is recommended for pregnancy tests, because there could be a lot of LH and it could actually skew the results. So if you use the second or third urine of the day in the morning, that will give you a pretty good indication of where you are with your high point of the luteinizing hormone for that cycle. And as I said, once you hit your high point, ovulation is to occur within 12 to 48 hours. So you know that once you hit that high point, your body's going to release an egg. So you will want to have intercourse with ejaculate within that 12 to 48-hour time frame to increase the possibility of pregnancy. Once the LH peaks, however, OPKs cannot confirm ovulation. They predict ovulation, hence the ovulation predictor kit. So just be aware, if you do use OPKs, it is predicting ovulation. The ways to confirm ovulation are through basal body temperature, and that needs to be done correctly, or an ultrasound to see if the doctor or tech can see the corpus luteum, which is the organ that is made once an egg is released from the ovary into the fallopian tubes. We make a special organ to help hold a pregnancy, and that is the corpus luteum. So to see if the corpus luteum is there, or blood tests will determine with the amount of progesterone that is in your system. We'll see if you ovulated, because once you ovulate, your progesterone it rises and it peaks. So those are just some ways that what to look for with your window. Some factors that can affect the length of your fertility window. The length of the fertility window can vary from woman to woman and even from cycle to cycle. Factors that can affect the length of the fertility window include age, hormonal imbalances, medical conditions. Individuals who are older or who have irregular cycles may have a shorter fertility window, while individuals who have certain medical conditions such as polycystic ovary syndrome or PCOS may have a longer fertility window. Ways to determine your window is to track your cycle. I suggest paper tracking only because that takes into account exactly where you are right now, where there are the apps that I have found and the apps that are very popular tend to use the average of a 28-day cycle, which can actually throw off when you're counting. It can say that you are expected to ovulate during these periods of time, and you may find that using OPKs and looking at your cervical mucus or even cervical position, find that you're not ovulating during that period of time. So just be aware that apps are good. However, I prefer paper only because I get a better accurate view of what is going on right then, right there. There are several things that you can do to maximize your chances of conception during your fertility window. One of the most important things is to have a regular sexual intercourse during the days leading up to ovulation and on the day of ovulation itself. So, knowing your fertility window is very important if you are trying to conceive or if you are trying to not get pregnant and are not on hormonal birth control. We individuals are only fertile during that window. And once that egg is released, that egg is only fertile for 24 hours. So it is a very small time that we are actually fertile within our cycles. So understanding where we are in our cycles is very important. So we know to stay away from penis and vagina intercourse or PIV intercourse with ejaculation. Once you know what that fertility window is, every other day of ejaculatory sexual intercourse is all that's needed. On a personal note, with my older son, my older child, we had sex once in my fertile window, and that was it. With my younger son, we had intercourse 4 or 5 times within that within the 7-day window. So, I knew where my window was with my second. I was not as versed of the cycle with my older one, my older child. So just knowing where you are in your cycle will definitely help. And also know that everyday sexual intercourse is not required. If you and your partner are individuals that enjoy everyday intercourse, please engage in everyday intercourse. Enjoy each other's bodies, enjoy each other as much as humanly possible. If you're one that it's getting to be too much with every day, it's starting to feel like it's a chore, then do every other day. Sperm live in a prime uterus for up to 5 days. On average, sperm live 1 to 3 days. So as long as there are sperm in the fallopian tube and in the uterus when ovulation occurs, there is a higher chance of pregnancy. It is also a good idea to maintain a healthy lifestyle and diet, which can help support fertility. This includes eating a balanced diet, getting regular exercise, managing stress, and avoiding smoking and excessive alcohol consumption. I've gone into this a few times with some of the other things. A very, very good book that I recommend is by Rebecca Fett called It Starts with the Egg. It goes into nutrition, it goes into what to avoid, what supplements to take if you have different issues. It's a very, very good resource, and I recommend that to any individual who is looking at trying to become pregnant. So that is something to just be aware of. And if you are suffering from PMS in the second half of your cycle, you can also get my free download on 4 ways to decrease the symptoms of PMS. So I touched on this a little bit before, but what can individuals do who are trying to avoid pregnancy and do during their fertile window? For those who are trying to avoid pregnancy, it's important to use if you do want to engage in that PIV intercourse, use effective contraception. And that does not have to be everyday hormonal birth control of any form, be it implant, injection, pill, or IUD. You can do condoms, both types of condoms, the ring. There are other ways that you can have a little bit more flexibility, but use those protection barriers to protect yourself if you choose to not go with the regular hormonal birth control route. There's also the fertility awareness method that is based on the basal body temperature and cervical mucus that we talked about earlier. It's important to remember that no method of contraception is 100% effective. So it's a good idea to use a combination of methods and to talk to your healthcare provider about which method may be best for your individual needs. So that is just a little bit about the fertility window and what to look for, what can help you to determine if you're in the window or if you're out of the window. If you would like more information, please reach out to me and I'm happy to answer questions that you may have. If you would like to know more about just tracking your cycle in general, I am looking for 7 individuals who are over the age of 18 to go through a class with me. I am getting a certification in from the fertility education and medical management on teaching how to track your cycles. Like, actually track your cycles. There is an app, there is paper. It is at least a minimum of a 4-month commitment. I am looking for individuals who are over the age of 18, are currently not pregnant, are not looking to get pregnant, are not and are currently off of all hormonal birth control methods. So if this few criterias work for you, please reach out to me. I can be reached at I'll leave my contact information at the bottom of this podcast. But that is all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed this information, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Embracing Flow. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow the show, submit a rating and review, and share it with your friends. Visit my website to receive your free PDF on 4 ways to decrease PMS. The link is in the show notes. Until next time, love hard, laugh often, and as always, be vividous.
Information shared on the Embracing Flow podcast is for educational purposes only. It does not constitute medical advice.